You impressed with my countdown clock? Even I'm impressed with my countdown clock. Not exactly sure how I did it, but I realize when I go to some Facebook Live broadcasts, like, you kind of don't know. You get maybe a notification that it started. I went into one today kind of by accident. Not Bruce Singer's. Yours was not an accident. Somebody else's, I got notified for some reason. And I clicked to go in to see what it was. And this poor girl that was doing the Facebook Live, she was just kind of sitting there waiting for somebody to come. I didn't know who she was or what the group was. So I kind of went back out quickly. And I felt bad for her. I'm not sure what she was going to talk about, but she looked nice. It was probably something really good. Anyway, welcome to Thursday nights again. It's these have been, this is our week 4. This is episode 4. We actually have a catalog of episodes now. And I've gotten such great feedback from people. Oh yeah, comments. I've gotten such great feedback on these, and I really love them too. I like that it's interactive, and I don't know. I'm sure we'll kind of see as we go along, but so far it's been great. So thank you again for being here. Gratefully living the chronic life. I'm getting better at remembering it. For Thursday, and we've got a great topic we're going to talk about tonight. I want to thank first, last week was a huge hit with Dr. Bruce Singer, my friend and mentor. We intended on an hour, and then at an hour, we realized we had so much to talk about. I had so much I still wanted to ask him. So we ended up going an hour, 20 minutes, and I checked when you go on, you can go on afterwards and kind of look at the analytics. So I can see how many people were on and how many, like, we lost that. I think it went like an hour 20, let's say an hour 21 minutes. And then it said the average viewer time was an hour 20 minutes. Like, we really just were able to keep your attention that whole time. So, well, Dr. Singer was anyway. We'll see what tonight is like. But anyway, I am Lauren Blanchard-Zaleski, the founder and admin of Attitude of Gratitude with Chronic Pain. Thank you so much for being here tonight on Gratefully Living the Chronic Life with Lauren. Hi, Jen Leos. I see you too. Hey, Gail. Diana, hi. Thank you for being here. Hi, Linda. This is why I love this software. I love being able to see your questions and comments and ideas on the screen. It's really, really nice. And I picked this nice magenta color tonight. Thought it went well with my blue shirt. So for those of you that haven't been here before, if there's anybody new, this is a new interactive live broadcast we are doing every Thursday night at this time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're generally going to talk about, and we can talk about whatever. Sometimes the conversation just leads us wherever. But generally we'll pick a topic and something relating to living with chronic conditions. And then we'll just have kind of like an open forum. You know, you guys put in your ideas, and I will do my best to get questions, comments, ideas up on the screen, like I'm doing right now. Sometimes I know I missed a few last week, and please do not take it personally if I miss a comment. There are a lot of comments coming in and I missed it. There would be maybe on occasion if everybody's kind of weighing in with the same answer, like there's really no need to put all of those up there. But in general, I want everybody's comments and questions and ideas, because I like this to be, you know, not just me talking to all of you guys, but all of us kind of exchanging ideas. The other thing, and this is a good example, hi Facebook user, if you haven't been here before, Because we are a closed Facebook group, we need StreamYard, which is doing the software for the broadcast here. They need your permission to put your name on the screen because we're a closed group. So when you logged in, there should have been a place where you could have gone in and clicked yes or no if you wanted to allow your name on there. If not, that's fine, but you come up as Facebook user. So if you're happy with Facebook user, that's great. If not, then maybe you want to log out and log back in. That's the easiest way I've heard to solve that problem. But hello, Facebook user. I'm sure, hopefully we'll see your real name in a little bit. Jen Leas, love the logo in the upper right corner. Yeah, I'm working on the logo. I like this one too. See, this is why we go an hour, 20 minutes, because random things pop in my head and I feel the need to expand on them. I love our logo, our group logo. It's, if you remember at the top of our Facebook page, it's, well, it's this, but on pink, right? Or on hot pink. I'm finding when I use it in certain places, like here's a perfect example. With our name written out, you just can't read it. So I'm looking for something new to maybe just kind of put in places like there. So that's why Jen is commenting on the logo. She's got eagle eyes there. Hi, Heidi. I made it. Oh, hi, Arlene. Facebook user Arlene. Thank you for being here. So anyway, how's everybody's week gone? Kind of same old for me. I don't know how it is for you guys. Actually, in my good night post tonight, I talk a little bit about that, about kind of being the same old. I started writing it anyway. But I hope everybody had a good week. We've had a great turnout for our Flush the Formats yesterday afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then the night before, Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've really been getting a good turnout. Some people come to both. Others, come to one or the other, but it's nice to see new faces, old faces returning, and the conversations, in my opinion, have been really great, talking about living with our struggles, with the COVID-19 virus, getting groceries, and not feeling so well. Flush the Format is our live chat where you can kind of talk about whatever you want, different from our regular group. We don't have to follow our regular group rules. But honestly, most of us do anyway. I guess that's just the type of people we are. Groundhog Day after day. I was going to put that in my post about how it's Groundhog Day after day. It's true. It is true. So there's little things we can do to mix it up, but let's face it, there's not a whole lot. So we just do the best we can, right, guys? So tonight our topic, I put the topic out for a group vote, and what were some of the other topics I put up there? Empathy, connection, tips and tricks on living with our struggles. And the one that ended up winning by a handful of votes is how to love ourselves now and not just the us we were then, which I know can be, a bit of an issue for some of us, all of us. Come on, I think we've all experienced that a time or two. And I have some really good group questions I wanted to ask. I'm really dying to hear what you guys have to say about all this. But first I had some group announcements. Let me see here. Last week I put up the AOG Google map. Some of you were able, you can go into this Google map and put in your, a little pinpoint where you are, and put your name in. So we're seeing all around the world where our members are. Hasn't been a great response to it yet. I mean, we're slowly getting there, but I don't know, maybe 15 or so far, but it is starting to fill in slowly but surely. It's not the most user-friendly thing in the world. I will I will tell you that right now it's not. So if you're having trouble and you can't figure out how to do it, in the comments on the post, which is up tagged at the top of the page, I actually wrote up like a dummy guide. But that, for all I know, that could be more confusing. So if you just can't figure out how to do it, just tell me, and I'd be happy to fill you in. I filled in a bunch of people today. I'd rather you just tell me and I'll put you on the map than you just not doing it at all because you're frustrated. Because I think it's super cool to see where everybody's from. If you're weird about the privacy, maybe you can go in and just do the pinpoint and not put your name in, but at least we can see somebody's there, you know? So that's kind of cool. Make sure you do that. Our journaling club, it's the last day of April today. So we just finished a month of our Zentangle challenge. Thanks for everybody who participated over the past month. Zentangles are like a repetitive pattern. They're supposed to be really great for like anxiety, depression, mood. You know, we had a different one each day. And honestly, some of mine were a hot mess. And some of them, like today, the last day, some of them, it turned out really good. And they really were kind of relaxing. Unless it was a hot mess, and then it was not relaxing at all. So tomorrow we'll be starting a new challenge, and you're going to have to tune in and see what it is. For those of you not in the AOG Journaling Club, you can join anytime. The challenges every month are absolutely optional. And even if you don't want to participate at all, you can just join and see what everybody else is doing. One of our favorite things to do is affirmations. I'm going to talk about affirmations in a little bit as far as loving ourselves, but we get a really great response to our affirmations. So it's another nice thing to kind of add into our tools during the day in AOG. The birthday club that Jen Leos is doing, and Debra Scott is actually, sorry, she's coming in to help Jen with the book club. So make sure you join the book club. The two of them are going to be chairing it together. The birthday club, Debra Scott said it really was Zen. Yeah, well, you were good at it. You were really good at the Zentangles, I mean. So the birthday club, Jen put up another post, I think it was today. And all the birthday club is you comment below the post with your birthday. Jen keeps track, and then when it's, I think, the week or maybe 2 weeks of your birthday, she'll give you a happy birthday message. So, you know, Facebook can be really annoying and aggravating at times, except for our group, of course, which is always awesome. But the best thing about Facebook is your birthday. You feel like a rock star, don't you? So you can not only get birthday wishes from your friends on your personal page, but you can get them in AOG too. So so join the birthday club. I think that post was today, Jen, is that right? It's either today or yesterday. I think it's still towards the top of the page. Oh, I wanted to show you my shirt. I've been wearing gratitude shirts for my episodes, which isn't really all that unusual, to be honest with you, because I wear gratitude shirts almost every day. This is kind of a new one. Default setting, gratitude. That's a newer one I got myself for Christmas. I liked that one. I use that term quite a bit. Put your default setting on gratitude, and things start to fall into place a little bit easier when it's kind of your go-to, right? We can fake it till we make it, and some days we really, really have to fake it. But if we try to get in that gratitude mindset, it makes things a whole lot easier, doesn't it? All of you members of AOG, you know all this. The tote bag I lifted up. I'm so embarrassed about this. I'm sure I'm going to get yelled at from certain people saying you shouldn't be embarrassed. This is the tote bag that our 5-year anniversary was January, and I broadcast our 5-year anniversary from the hospital. Amy was in the hospital, so a lot of things weren't going well on that day, that being one of them. And I forget if it was 4 or 5 winners, you were promised this tote bag. I have your tote bag. All of you, I have your tote bags. I need the time. Amy was going to make them, and I swear I'm not pushing for sympathy there, but Amy was going to make them for me. I've got this little Cricut machine. Let me see if you can see that. Can you see my Cricut machine over there next to my oil diffuser? Yeah, it's all ready to go, sort of. I have to print it out and then steam it on. So we didn't forget about you. We have your names and addresses written down. I am sorry. With Amy passing away, obviously there's that. And then I had to take over some of her responsibilities, and just it's been crazy, but good crazy. But please know we haven't forgotten about you, and you will get those eventually. And speaking of Amy, I don't think I showed this to you guys last week, but in case I did, Amy's husband, David, his brother does like screen printing and stuff. And they had these car stickers made. So it's our gratitude symbol. Now I'm starting to think I told you guys this already. It's our gratitude symbol. I know I've shown you the tattoo every week, which I thought was really nice of him to put on car things. They're not for sale or giveaway or anything like that, unfortunately, but I just wanted to show off my new Amy bling, which I will cherish forever. And she would love that it's gratitude. And the last silly thing is, before I was coming on the air, my daughter Riley, she's 24, she said, she was kind of joking around about the broadcast. And she's like, Mom, are you going to use puppets? Which sounds ridiculous, but if you've known me for a little while, you know I would do something goofy like that. And I'm like, oh, that's a great idea. So I may act some things out with Madeline and the bumblebee. We'll have to see if I remember to do that. In an old house in Paris covered with vines lived a little girl and a bee in 2 straight lines. We'll see. But I told Riley, I'm like, I'm totally doing the puppets. Okay. I have puppets here for Anna, by the way. That's why the puppets are out. So let's get into our topic. Does anybody have anything they want to say before we get started? It's kind of a heavy topic. And I get so interested each week what you guys are interested in hearing, because it really kind of differs by the week in all of our 4 episodes. Oh, by the way, for people, well, if you're not watching live, then you can't hear this, but thank you to those of you who are watching this after the fact too. I'm going to try my best to keep this to a reasonable length, like an hour tonight. Love the bee, Debra, yeah. Yeah, I hope you do tune in and get all the good information out of it that I think you will get. And if you hear something that you like on the broadcast, then you can go back and maybe try to find out what it was. You can write it down, or maybe you just need a little inspiration. That's what our group is good at. So the topic winner was how to love ourselves now and stop obsessing about the person we were then. And I cannot wait to hear what you guys have to say about this. I'm just going to start right off with the first group question I came up with is, why do you think we often have a hard time loving or embracing who we are today? I wrote a whole list of things down. Now, maybe it's not every day. Maybe it's hardly ever, in which case, that's really fantastic. But, such an important part of living the chronic life in a fulfilling way is giving ourselves self-compassion. You guys know this. And, but sometimes it's not all that easy to do. So I thought to get to that, the first thing we needed to do was delve into this question. What do you think why do you think we often have a hard time loving and embracing who we are today? Looks like we've got Debra. I used to be extremely active, and even after 24 years, I have a hard time accepting my limitations. That was like, you just answered about 3 of my points there, Debra. We tend to talk a lot and I don't know if it's good or bad, but we just do, about what we used to be able to do, how we used to be. We kind of romanticize how we were, back in the day, even to each other, even in a chronic pain group. Amy and I would do it all the time to each other. Like, we used to do this with our kids. I used to be able to blah, blah, blah. And I'm not sure why that is. Are we romanticizing it? I don't know. 24 years and accepting my limitations. There's the limitations, which I also wrote down, Debra. And of course, that whole acceptance thing, which is also kind of key to us being able to move forward with our fulfilling lives, is acceptance. All right, let's see, we've got from Arlene. I know I had to grieve my old self being gone. I have grief written down too. Grief is, I think it's a big part of it. Don't you guys think so? Because we grieve a lot of things. We grieve that old self. And, Debra said 24 years. I've been 20. Arlene, I think you told me the other day, you've been about 20 years or so. Yeah, used to, Debra. Yes, keyword used to. Yeah, so it's not like this is something new for us. But yet, why do we have such a hard time coming to this conclusion, coming to grips with our limitations and coming to that place of acceptance? I feel like I have to do it every single day. What do you guys think? I feel like I have to wake up. And it's not like I don't know it's going to be there. I do know. But yeah, I have to come to grips with it quite a bit. All right, let's see what Heidi has to say. Heidi, society seems to value people by what they produce or accomplish. We can't produce or accomplish as much now. That's a really great thought. You're right. Society seems to value people by what they produce or accomplish. You go to a party. Well, back in the day when you went to parties, people always ask you, what do you do? Chances are probably people still do, and maybe you do something in the form of work, or maybe your work is like mine, which is basically, internal and helping with this amazing group of people. But I don't produce anything other than a bunch of grateful hearts. That's what I produce. But the grief is a daily thing, Debra says. It comes on out of the blue. There's a lot of loss with we lose ourselves, we lose abilities, we lose our sense of self. Sometimes we lose our jobs, we lose people in our lives, right? Glendale, hi, glad you could be here. Thanks for joining in. Jen Leo says, I grieve a bit daily from my loss. And she said, so true, Heidi. Yeah, that's a really great thought there, Heidi, about society and what they value. So what would be the key then? Well, what would be the key? It would be to produce, to not care as much about what society values, and what we have to value ourselves, right? Easier said than done, I know. But that's what we work on here in AOG every single day. Margaret, glad you could join us. You are a writer. If you write, you are. Okay, I will take that. I love it. AOG is my full-time job, and I don't get paid a dime, and I'm not looking to be some kind of a martyr or something like that. But I don't think I can get paid in a job that I would love this much, because I get so much thanks and like epiphanies from you guys, and I learn from you guys. I'm certainly not the expert here. I just founded a group, and I learn a little bit as I go along. I love looking into myself and why I act the way that I do, and I love discussing with you guys why we do, and coming to terms with it together. Society and family. Family can be a tough one too. You're right, Jen. Our family, chances are they're used to the old us too. And maybe on the outside, we look exactly the same as we used to. So, you know, some of us have invisible illnesses or invisible most of the time. But our bodies are screaming on the inside and they can't see that. So hopefully you've got some nice supportive people in your life. Not that your family's not supportive. I'm sure they are in their own way. I think there's no way they could possibly know, nor would we want them to, right? We love our family. We wouldn't want them to know how much we struggle. Maybe if they could feel it for a couple minutes, then it might help. My family in general, they see, but they couldn't possibly know the whole extent. So there's that whole physical aspect, and then what that physical does to, you know, appear. Sometimes that emotional pain, for me at least, is more debilitating than the emotional pain is more debilitating than the physical pain. Arlene says, I have learned to challenge what I think is normal and seek new ways of seeing my world. That's my girl. I love that. I love that. I'm going to talk a little bit about just that thing in a little bit. We're going to try to get to the bottom of this and find out how we can love ourselves a little bit better. And Arlene sent me some articles of hers that she wanted me to read. I intentionally didn't read your article, not because I didn't want to share it with everybody, because I'm curious to read it after we discuss here and see how it's different. I was afraid it might skew my view a little bit, so that's why I didn't read your piece on, I think you said it's on perception. But thank you for the honor of letting me read those. It's really great. Debra Scott, I was independent, took care of myself, and now I am dependent on someone else for my needs. Biggest loss is independence. I have that down on my list here. The independence part is really frustrating, isn't it? Like, you can tell. So many of us were well, at one way or another, we were generally independent people, weren't we? And so having to ask somebody to help us, even in small ways, could make us feel like a little bit, you know, less of a person, don't you think? Less of who we are, who we were, who we, for the first how many ever years of your life, for me, the first 32 years of my life, that's who I was. And now I'm a completely different person. You know, maybe your condition happened, you know, maybe it was an injury or it happened very, very quickly. Then for others, like me, it's still kind of a gradual thing. So every time I get a new symptom or a new syndrome or illness that we've come to the conclusion that I have, it's like a whole new grieving process over and over again. You know, I'm sure I'm not unique in this, that new symptoms come up for me all the time. And it's frustrating, you know, my ability to drive is in question. I'm losing my short-term memory pretty badly, which is very, very upsetting to me. Which is why you probably watch this episode and be like, she's repeating the same stuff she said the last 3 weeks. So hopefully that's not the case, but I'm doing my best. I can laugh about it sometimes and I cry about it too. Heidi Presser says, Debra Immer Scott, so true. Jen says, yes, hard to depend on others. Yes, I know. And a lot of times, for me at least, well, the old me before I started incorporating this life of trying to make things better for myself. As Bruce Singer would say, whatever you do, just the number one rule is don't make it worse. And he told us that when I was at the chronic pain and recovery program, studying underneath him for that month at Silver Hill Hospital. He said, whatever you do, don't make it worse. Because I did. I made it worse for myself in lots of ways, silly ways. kind of self-destructive behavior. I mean, drinking like a fish wasn't a real smart idea, especially on top of some of the medications that I was on. I just didn't take care of myself because I kind of had the mindset of, well, since I'm not who I was, what's the point anyway? Or I'm already in pain, so, this isn't going to hurt me at all. Nobody understands. I don't want to talk to anybody. That was all this crazy mindset I was in my head with all of this really self-destructive stuff. So even if I would have a room, like my family was all here, they wanted to help me. They were at a loss because I didn't open up to them. I didn't want to be a bummer. I didn't want to depress people. I knew they couldn't understand anyway. And so I just got really isolated. I would be a person that could be completely isolated in a room full of people because that's how I made it. And, I always say is one of my biggest tips is the connection and community part, especially of AOG. It has been a lifesaver for me, and I hope it has for you guys too. Arlene says, prior to this virus, I would be at the doctor office every couple of weeks. I always joked that I needed to move into the doctor's office. Yes, so a lot of us have good senses of humor, and you kind of have to, don't you? I mentioned this very quickly a little while ago, but loss of people in our lives may be, there's a lot of our own abilities that we lost, but maybe we lost people. Maybe we complained a lot and we just kind of steered those people away from our lives. Maybe they just couldn't take it anymore. I hope not, but I know that happens to a lot. A lot of people go through divorce, friendships. We lose people. And I think, a lot of times it's nothing that we did, but I think a lot of times if we reflect, we can see that maybe we may have had something to do with this. Oh my gosh, Suzanne Flynn, Bayreuther. She was my freshman roommate at college. Hi. Thank you for inspiring so many of us. Hugs from afar. Guess what, Suzanne? Guess what's back here? Suzanne got me this little gratitude box. I think it was a couple of years ago. I'm thrilled that you're here. This is awesome. And it says, this gratitude box will change your life. Write down something every day that you are grateful for. And it came with this little notepad and pen. See, I didn't even know you were going to be here. And I've got my little gratitude box. It's so cute. I'm thrilled that you're here, Suzanne. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm glad I can be an inspiration. When we get into, things we can do to help us love ourselves. When I go back, I say this all the time, probably every week, but for me, it is the basis for everything. June 20th, 2013, when I had my DUI and I woke up in the hospital. See, I can still cry about it. It's almost 7 years. And the pain that I felt on that day was like nothing I've ever felt in my life, because I don't remember going out to this day. There's no recollection of that. I was so drunk and I woke up in the hospital. I did not hurt anybody or myself. But there isn't a day that goes by that I don't think about it and I'm not grateful for it. So it's really easy to use that day, June 20th, 2013, as a baseline for my gratitude, because anything on top of that is better. Even my most painful day is still better than that. I wish for you all that you don't have a rock bottom quite that bad, but I know many of you do. So that's where I come to my gratitude. Suzanne, that's awesome you're here. Thank you. Jen says, I am always alone in a crowd. I know what you're saying, Jen. Who else isolated? Did you guys isolate? I don't anymore, or if I do, I make it brief. I had a sponsor once who said, you can have a pity party, just don't make it more than one day, 24 hours. So I don't, still going through a rough time grieving Amy. But I'm getting better, but there's some days that just aren't so good. But she's here with us right now. She's here next to my candle and my gratitude stone. Love you, Amy. Okay. Margaret DeCarrico-Morris says, me too, Jen. And Jen has a good point. It's also a protective device, I think. I think you're right. As far as isolating, I assume is what you're talking about it. You're right. It is like a wall that we put up so we don't have to talk to anybody, because if we do have to talk to people, well, first of all, there's the whole mindset of we have to like put it on, for people that don't understand what we go through. Maybe you've got to be cute and charming and you don't feel like being cute and charming, or maybe you've got to talk about real stuff in our reality. And that's not really fun to talk about unless it's with you guys, because we always do it in a positive light. Although, yeah, June 20th, 2013 is never fun to talk about, but I do it to help myself so I never forget. And I do it to hopefully help people also. I have only seen my hubs in 2.5 months. Debra says, I have only seen my hubs in 2.5 months. In the past 2.5 months? Am I reading that wrong, Debra? You can clarify what that is. Yeah, Rob and I are in the same house, as are my kids, but we're social distancing. We're all like, the kids, sometimes I don't see them until like dinner time. And they make their own dinner. So everybody's kind of doing their thing. Jake's in college. He's doing that all day. Riley's doing virtual princessing and stuff like that. So everybody's kind of doing their own thing, and Rob's working, but we're all just cautious to make sure that none of us end up with this COVID-19. And I hope none of you have people that you know and love that have it also. Hopefully we're on the downside, at least for now. So what else would be a reason? What other reasons would you have for not loving yourself today? And I'm going to put up the next question I had, because I think that kind of ties in. You can answer that one or this one. What needs to happen in order for you to love yourself as you are today? So we know why we don't always like that person that we are today, because it's not, we relive the glory days of when we were feeling good. But the thing is, they weren't glory days because we didn't know to enjoy them at the time, because we didn't know we were going to be in pain for the rest of our lives, did we? I had a high school friend I was talking to yesterday, my friend Sue Ellen. I think it was yesterday, maybe the day before. We were talking about, we have this group of 6 high school friends. We all get together, and we did a Zoom call last night, and we're talking about, a couple of us have had, deaths in the family. I lost my best friend / sister. It's just been a rough couple of months for pretty much everybody in our group. And Sue Ellen made a comment like, don't you wish we could go back to our 20s? And I actually said, no, I don't. I mean, yes, my body was feeling great and I didn't know to take it, to appreciate it at the time. That's going to happen no matter what anyway. But no, I think, and I know it sounds hokey, but I think what this illness and the entire experience over the past 7 years has given me makes me a better person. I swear. I'm very, very human, but I like to learn about myself, and I love to learn from you guys how to make my life better. So I want to hear why you can't love yourself today, and what is it going to take for you to love yourself today? Let's see what we've got. Debra clarifying, I have not left the house or seen anyone except Clifford in months. I'm with you. I bet a lot of us are in that same boat. I wanted to put this up as a poll question one day. I want to find out from everybody, is what we're doing now similar to what you were already doing, or is it a big difference? You don't have to answer that now, but I want to put that up as a poll question one day because I'm curious. Arlene says, there are some people who will never get my situation, and I have had to let them go. That's a good point too, for my own mental health. Fortunately, I'm the type of person who seeks community. Yes, you are, my friend, and we are very glad that you found us. That's a good point. I said earlier that people that we lose, kind of alluding to they dump us, but there's some people for our own mental health that we have to let go too. But yeah, that's a great point, Arlene. Thanks for reminding me of that. It's true. And I don't know if you guys find that easy or difficult. In the beginning, I found it difficult. Now, not so much, but it's, with the help of you guys and what we learned in AOG, it gets a little bit easier. And I think that has to do with self-love and self-compassion, doesn't it? Because we need to find ourselves worthy enough to take those people out of our lives. If they're hindering our happiness, our growth emotionally, if they're not making things better in our lives, or at least not making them worse, either maybe not hanging out with them as much, or maybe you needed to say goodbye to them too. Great point. Arlene says, acceptance is a big one for me. Me too. Me too. And Jen says, me too. I'm such a better person. I don't know what you were like before, but man, you can't get much better of a person now, my friend. I love you to death. It's a pleasure knowing every single one of you. I mean that. Such deep thinkers. I mean, I would argue that coming to this chat today, you've got to value yourself at least a little bit, or have some self-compassion, because you're coming here hoping to hear ideas on why maybe you're having trouble giving yourself some self-compassion, and you want to maybe be better at it so you can live a happier, more fulfilling life. That's got to involve some kind of self-love, self-compassion, don't you think? I do. Because if you don't have that, if you don't have hope, you just wouldn't bother. I used to spend my days on the couch or in bed, drinking myself silly, sitting in my own, unshowered self for at least a month. No joke. I just didn't like myself. I loved myself, I think. And I knew it wasn't my fault. And that was another point I wanted to bring up too. Do any of you guys blame yourself at all for your condition, your illness, your injury? Because I think that can be a hindrance in loving ourselves too, is self-blame. Arlene says, I still say that I am not grateful for the physical illness, but I am grateful for the lessons I have learned. For sure. Me too. Me too. I want to hear from you guys if you blame yourself. I don't think I blame myself. I have a couple of illnesses. I know none of them were my fault in getting. And even if they were, maybe even if it was something I ate or did or whatever, it's not like I knew I was doing it. So I don't blame myself. But my poor mother, she'll sometimes think back to like what she was eating when she was pregnant with me. I just turned 50. This is a long time. But of course, her being my mom, my parents really, really struggle with me being sick. And I'm a very lucky girl to have them in my life. And I have to remember a lot that not only am I a mother and I worry about my kids, but I'm also a daughter. And I have to look at it from their perspective. So mom and dad, if you're watching, I'm sorry. But I know my mom has some blame. Debra says, nobody beats me up better than I do. I can say I'm a million times happier since AOG came into my life. Yay! I'm so glad you came into AOG's life, for sure. I mean, look at this conversation we're having. It's just amazing. You guys are truly amazing. What we accomplished together, these epiphanies, I'll say it a million times. I really love this give and take that we do. I would hate to be just standing up here. It's been 45 minutes already. If I run an hour 20 again, it's going to be your fault. I don't like to leave questions and comments unanswered, though. Debra says, I blame a traumatic childhood and the stress it took to just survive. Yeah, there's that. And I can't say that I disagree with you on that one either, in that I don't handle stress very well. Whether or not that compounds my illness, there's no proof. But in general, I know that during stressful periods, I go into worse flares. But I don't go into I don't stress out like I used to. Did I bring on my own illness? I'm not really sure. And that's another reason for getting rid of some of the toxic people in your life, is removing that stress that we just don't need. That's a really good point, Debra. I don't want you to blame yourself, though. This was not your fault. Not your fault. And now you're doing things to make yourself deal with it better. You were a child. We love you, babe. Margaret DeCarica Morris says, I say I'm sorry too often. I'm changing to thanks. It's not sorry I'm late. It's thank you for waiting. I'm glad. First of all, that's fantastic. And I don't know if it was you. Was it you that posted that yesterday or the day before, that meme with that whole saying? I've seen it several times, and it's absolutely mind-blowing and brilliant. I heard from several people yesterday that I was being too hard on myself because I apologized for the intention post being late. And they were absolutely right. And it felt icky saying it. I wasn't doing it like I thought you guys were holding me accountable at all. I just was kind of saying, yeah, sorry I'm late, guys. But I think it may have been Arlene or maybe Jill Cook said to me, maybe you should have said instead, thank you for waiting. But the good news as part of that, I'll give myself half credit, is that I didn't put the intention post up early because the night before was not a great night and yesterday morning was not great. So I decided to wait for my own self-care. So do I get half credit on that? I think I might. But I don't know if you guys thought that too about me saying, I'm sorry. I'm getting better at the sorries. I used to be like that too. You know who was like that? Amy. Amy was very much, she apologized for everything, the poor little thing. She had a traumatic childhood too. And, I guess it's just habit. It's a habit we need to try to break. But she really thought that she owed people those apologies. And I would try to work with her. But one of the things I wanted to bring up, and that's a good segue, is in self-compassion, what are the things you need to do to love yourself today? Is one of the things I had written down is treating yourself like you would treat your best friend, or like I would treat any of you that are watching and taking part here tonight, or watching. You don't have to be taking part, because man, I was there every step of the way for Amy. And again, I'm not saying that to put on my martyr hat, but I sure was a lot easier on her. And I would be on her case about making doctor's appointments. And man, did I not follow that advice myself. She did that to me. So I'm going to have to do it for myself now. And I know that. Although now I have a feeling that 5,300 people are going to be after me to schedule doctor's appointments. Though, Margaret, that's a really great point about the I'm sorry's. Maryam Quinn, yes, I blame myself on my pity party day. I like how you put day and not days. That's good, girl. Yeah, I hear you. I think we need to have pity parties once in a while. I mean, I've had people when I have advertised AOG before outside of the group. Sometimes I'll go and I'll pay a little extra to just put an ad. You're not allowed to advertise groups. I may have said this before. You can't advertise a closed group, but you can advertise a page. So I have a Gratitude Addict Facebook page, which is really more like me posting things, but I'm not very active on it. But I can put an ad for AOG on there and advertise that. It's really wacky. But the reason why I bring that up is I don't advertise that much, but once in a while I'll be like, I think there might be somebody out there that needs to hear our mission and see what we do and see how they might be if they join us. So I'll put that out there. And on the advertisement, man, I get some trolls. I'm sorry if I've told you guys this before. Ooh, I just apologize. Thank you for bearing with me as I repeat things. Yeah, people get really angry about that. They'll say that I'm, or our group is hindering people from their true feelings, and how dare I say you can't complain, and none of it is true, because if they came into the group at all or spent any time with our group, they'll know. I mean, we offer these live chats twice a week now where you can say whatever you want. Venting is extremely important. We created AOG as this space to get away from it all if you needed to, you know, either temporarily, or some people then do drop their other groups. I wouldn't be against anybody. I know many of you belong to other groups. I belong to other groups, especially when I get diagnosed with something new. I will join a group because it's a great information gatherer. And nor am I against venting. We just don't do it in the group for a lot of reasons, which I won't get into now, but if you guys know, you read our rules. Debra, did not mean to be a bummer. Oh, you're so cute. You're not a bummer. The whole topic is a bummer. And I realized that as I was writing in my outline, as it is a bummer. But we're going to end on the positive and do what we're doing right now, which is trying to figure out how can we love ourselves more today. And I think we kind of know the answers already, but we're going to go through. You're not a bummer, silly. Gail says, I'm with you, Debra, on that one. Arlene, I think about me as a child and what I would say to myself as a child. Yeah, that's a great point too. That, or your best friend. But yeah, I've heard that too, talking to yourself as if you're a little child or your child. That's a great, because you talk to them with such compassion, and you know, your kids are your kids. If you have a child, or if you don't have children, when you talk to a child, you speak to them very differently. Why do we hold ourselves to different standards than we hold everybody else to? Are we that important? No. Well, I'm not. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not more important than, say, Amy, but I would hold myself to a very different standard than I held her. Now, her condition at the end was dire, of course, but even on a regular day, I was much harder on myself than I was with her. So that's a really good point. Margaret, this is the most remarkable and life-changing group I've ever been a part of. You guys, you make me cry. That's why I love my job more than anything else. That. You guys know what I'm talking about. Hearing that. It's life-changing for me too, but that's easy for me to say because I found that at hearing from you guys that it's helped you even in a little way. We're doing something right, you know. Thank you, Margaret. That was beautiful. And Debra's is great advice, Arlene. Yes, life as a child, for sure. That is great advice. Let me see what else I had written down here. But what about, I don't know if this applies to any of you guys, but getting back to the reasons why we may have trouble loving ourselves or being self-compassionate, what about our physical appearance? Maybe we have, you know, maybe we look different. Maybe we put on weight from medications, or, you know, that can be a big thing too with some people. I go on steroids quite a bit, and I do tend to put on some weight with that. So I was wondering if any of you guys had that as part of your story, whether it doesn't necessarily have to be weight, but physical appearance. This is a very minor thing, but a couple of years ago, another syndrome of my lupus is, what the heck is it called? Sjogren's syndrome. That's a weird one that's spelled Sjogren's. And it's basically dry eyes, dry mouth, and goes along with lupus quite a bit. So I was basically told that my contact lens wearing days were over. And so now I have to wear glasses, and I hated it at first. I hated it. Now I don't even think about it. It's probably been about 5-6 years at this point, but minor. I mean, gosh, in the grand scheme of things, wearing glasses, please. But yeah, I hated it at the time. Arlene, I put my uniform on every day, earrings and necklace. She shared this with us in our Flush the Format, and then this was last week, I believe, right, Arlene? She likes to get one of her tips for, getting on with her day and to make herself feel better about herself is she likes to wear jewelry. She likes the color turquoise. Arlene, since you brought this up here, I'm assuming that I am okay talking about this. If not, I apologize. Just tell me to shush. But yeah, earrings and a necklace. And after she had said that, after the flush the format, I posted an old article that I wrote about some of my tips and tricks for living a happier life with chronic pain and illness. Arlene's got more. I do it for me, not for anyone else, and that makes me feel that I am a warrior. Nice. Nice. I showered today. I also showered on Tuesday. Do I need to say any more? I'm pretty darn proud of myself. Will I shower again until next Tuesday? I don't know. But I always feel better. Maybe not physically, but emotionally. I feel like I feel like when I shower and get ready, I suit up and show up. For what? Well, this, but just I get more accomplished. Speaking of getting more accomplished, who was it in the beginning? Oh, Heidi Presser had a great point. I think it was you, Heidi, about our society value what you do, how much you do, which is very true. So I have written down in self-compassion and talking to yourself with love and stuff. I think we need to be easier on ourselves. You know, of course, with the best friend and the talking to yourself as if you would a child. But my to-do lists are insane. I'm embarrassed to show you guys this, but I will. Okay. This is my planner. Let's show you a day. All right, this was the 28th. All that stuff down here, that's all things to do in one day. How many do I check off on any given day? 3, 4 tops. And making those tote bags is one of those things. It's at the top of the list every single day. I will get to them, I promise you guys. But I need to, we do intentions in the morning for a reason. It's not goal setting, because setting goals, we determined, is just setting ourselves up for disappointment and failure and then resenting ourselves if we aren't able to achieve it. So we do intentions. Today I intend to maybe take a shower, make a really small to-do list for myself. I also write things down so I don't forget. So I have to ease up on myself a little bit when it comes to that, but let's be real, that is my to-do list. So I'm not great at practicing what I preach all the time. I've just outed myself. Facebook user, I'm sorry we don't know who you are. Maybe that's by choice, but you walk around and rest. Good tip, very good tip. Thank you for sharing. Debra says, my appearance has changed. I used to be kind of prissy about my appearance. Now it is sweatpants and a sweater. Don't get me started on showering. Menopause does nothing to improve things. Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear from you guys was, if it's changed your appearance at all and if you have trouble with that. Our energy level, sleep, I think I mentioned earlier, we lose our jobs. Somehow we do often become, you become your pain. You are not your pain. We have to remember that. It's really true. We are not our pain, but we are in how we decide to handle it, right? And that is completely our choice. When we get sick or injured, I think another negative for us is that we feel completely out of control. We don't like being out of control of our symptoms, of our energy levels. So much is out of our control. Which is why acceptance is hard too. But we don't have to be completely out of control, though. We can control how we respond to our situation. And we can sit around and have pity parties every single day and do what I used to do, self-destructive behavior, or you can do something about it. Small, baby steps is all it takes. But man, I told Dr. Singer last week that I used to feel like when I came to him after my DUI, I used to feel like I had no more value as a person. I had nothing left to give. And I think I may have said this last week too. Thank you for listening to my stories over and over. But But I realized that I've gained strengths from this entire experience, including hanging out with you guys and listening to what you have to say. And that's a gift. We got Debra already. Let me just close in on, make sure I got all of this: loss of control, grief, blaming yourselves. What are some of the other things that you guys do to improve your self-love and self-compassion? I mentioned this earlier, but often we use that narrative of, I used to be able to ... which is probably not a great thing. I mean, sometimes you just want to tell somebody how you were and kind of tell them what you were like. But what if we start to focus more on what we're like today? Because gosh, from what I'm hearing from you guys that are watching live, we all like each other a lot. So maybe we can focus more on that and kind of ease up on the stuff we don't love. Because again, I'll say it, if you belong to this group or come to these chats, you love yourself enough, you value yourself enough to want to try to get better. Absolutely. Someone described me as quirky as an insult years ago, but I like quirky, and I give myself permission to just be me. Good girl, Margaret. I love it. I love it. And I think it's been a common trend. You probably all know this, but we do seem to be a lot of empathetic people. And I don't know why that word or oversensitive is such a bad word. I have a problem with that. People telling me that I'm oversensitive. What's your baseline for sensitivity? Who says this sensitivity is good, but this one's just oversensitive? Or this is undersensitive. There's no baseline. You are who you are. I am who I am. I love who I am. Am I going to be oversensitive? No, I'm going to be sensitive to the level that I feel is appropriate. Debra says, I concentrate on all I've overcome: alcoholism, smoking, and an eating disorder. Woo, you go, girl. That's incredible. Incredible. Me too. Almost sober 7 years, smoking maybe 5. Thank God. You are a warrior. I mean, I feed my need for crazy things to do by writing my goofy thoughts. This in turn makes me fill my heart with joy, thus helping myself. I think it's a good time for the puppets, don't you? Speaking of quirky and crazy. Madeline, what do you do to appreciate yourself more? In your old house in Paris, it's covered with vines. Maybe the bumblebee has some ideas. Judging, we already talked about not judging yourself. Oh, the affirmations I wanted to bring up. I think we kind of got everything else. In the group, we do these breath breaks for a couple minutes each day if you decide to take part in them. Just this deep breathing, taking time to just breathe. No full meditation unless you're able to do that, and that's great if you are. Slowing down and just remembering to take deep breaths can kind of center you and get you rebooted. 2 minutes, 1 minute. Was it yesterday? We did like a 50-second one. It's great. That's a great way to love yourself. Helping others, which is what you guys are doing right now, like by watching and commenting, is you are helping everybody else in the group by giving your ideas. And that's service work. Maybe you don't think of it like that, but it absolutely is service work. Because I think we all want to be working in soup kitchens and things like that. And maybe that's in your reality. Maybe it's not. But helping others is sure in your realm of possibility, and you do it every day. Sarah Garrison. Hi, Sarah. Embrace yourself. Absolutely. Embrace yourself. Give yourself a hug. That really helps. Smile on your face, a half smile, like John Kabat-Zinn says, to put a half smile on your face when you just don't feel like smiling, and it starts to raise your serotonin levels. There's all sorts of studies on that. Thanks, Sarah. Debra says, Arlene, you are hilarious. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. I agree. You're all amazing. And I see we're over an hour. I'll be darned if I'm going to hit an hour, 20 minutes. So I think we kind of got everything. Does anybody have any final thoughts on this whole subject? So we need to ease up on ourselves, make our lives easier, don't make things worse. Watch your language, your self-talk, right? I tend to deal with myself in self-deprecating humor. And I was told by a friend once that she's like, that's negative self-talk. And I'm like, no, I'm just kind of goofing around. She's like, no, it's the same thing. You're disguising it. And so I try to, you probably notice it here in this broadcast, I try to not do it, but it comes out all the time. So I know I need to get better on the self-talk, but don't be calling yourself, oh, you're so stupid. Oh, you're so, no, we're just human. Perfect imperfections is what we've got. Debra Scott, thank you. This was awesome. You're welcome. Sarah says, I'm so grateful for you and all these resources and groups. Thank you, guys. I love that you are here and that you take part in it. For those of you that are going to watch later, I appreciate you too. One final thing I wanted to bring up. I don't know if Dr. Singer's watching, but when we got to Silver Hill, he had us write a letter to our pain. Write a letter to your pain. And then he had us write a letter from your pain back to you. This exercise was so interesting to me, but I think you'll be shocked as to what role your pain takes and maybe how compassionate you are to your pain. I'm going to challenge you guys to do that. Write a letter to your pain. And then if you're feeling really ambitious, write a letter back from your pain to yourself. I think, and I want to hear all about it. Arlene, communities like this are places where your soul can find a hug. Very true, very true. All right, well, this was a great topic. Thank you guys for choosing it. Thank you for being here. Linda, hi, Linda. This was amazing. I'm so glad. I'm so glad you got something out of it, you guys. I sure did. And I need you guys to give me your ideas and fill in the pieces. I did this the first and second week, but I forgot last week because Bruce and I were so long over into the hour, 20 minutes. But I think I was doing like things that I love, shows that I love. And I need to recommend, I'm watching two things right now. There's a new show by the creators of Downton Abbey. So if any of you are Downton Abbey fans, there's a new show that started, I think it's 3-4 weeks in, called Belgravia. And it's very, very similar to Downton Abbey. It's on the Epix channel, which I think you might get if you get HBO, or it might be involved with Amazon Prime too. I don't know. Somehow I got it already. I highly, highly, highly recommend this show. If you loved Downton Abbey, you will just love it and feel sort of like you're watching Downton Abbey again. Great acting, very strong women. I absolutely love it. And I feel like there was something. Oh, I'm also watching. This one's been around for a while, but this is why I write things down. Call the Midwife, right? That's been on for like 10 years, I think. And I think I watched an episode or two a couple of years ago, and I kind of lost it, but I've started watching it again. And that show is just endearing and darling. I love it. It's a feel-good show. And as far as products that I love, I wasn't planning on this, but I don't get any money from these. I've been drinking kombucha again lately. I went through this whole phase a couple of years ago where I was making my own kombucha. It's got probiotics in it. I'm not recommending it for health reasons. I'm not saying it's going to make your life better. I just think it's really tasty. That's all. Okay. I love you guys. Thank you for bearing with us once again. Gail says, thank you so much, Lauren. Thank you for being here. I love you all very, very much. Peace and